Why are you still awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, feeling like something is watching you from the unseen realm? Why does your chest feel tight with a heaviness you can't name? Not fear, not anxiety, but something ancient stirring in your bones. Why have the last 7 days felt like you're walking through invisible fire, your body exhausted, but your spirit more awake than it's been in decades? Chosen one, stop. Don't scroll, don't move, don't even blink. Something is shifting in the atmosphere right now. Something heaven whispered to me last night while the world slept. And if your spirit is already trembling before I've even told you what's coming, that's not coincidence, that's confirmation. November 20th is not just another date on the calendar, it's a spiritual threshold, a divine checkpoint where heaven separates the 1% who stayed awake from the 99% who kept sleeping. Here's the shocking truth nobody's telling you. Only those who've been marked by suffering will feel what's about to happen. Only the spiritually seasoned, the ones the world forgot, but heaven never did, will sense what's moving in the unseen realm. That strange clarity in the silence, that sudden emotional sensitivity, that feeling of being watched by heaven itself, those aren't symptoms of anxiety, beloved. Those are prophetic indicators. Your spirit is picking up frequencies that 99% of people can't hear. You've been feeling tired lately, haven't you? Not just body tired, soul tired. Like you've been carrying invisible weight that nobody else can see. You go to bed exhausted and wake up more drained. That's not depression, that's preparation. God has been rewiring your spiritual antenna, tuning you to pick up what's about to be released on November 20th. Most people will miss it completely. They'll wake up on November 21st, unchanged, unshifted, untouched. But not you. You never were, most people. If your spirit has been uneasy this week, if you've felt something shifting inside your chest like tectonic plates moving beneath your soul, type 777 inches the comments right now. Let heaven see your agreement. Before we go deeper, let me thank every soul who has supported this message through super thanks. You're sowing seeds of light into dark places, helping this reach someone sitting alone tonight, wondering if God still sees them. Whether you give or not, your presence here matters deeply. In the next few minutes, I'm revealing the 8 rare signs that only 1% will experience before November 20th, signs that prove you're not losing your mind, you're gaining your destiny. But understand this shift isn't coming to comfort you, it's coming to commission you. November 20th marks the moment when God stops preparing you and starts deploying you. The question burning in heaven right now is this: will you finally stop hiding who you really are? Because what's about to be activated inside you on November 20th will make the last 10 years look like preparation and the next 10 years look like pure manifestation. Stay with me. Don't you dare look away. Your scroll stopped here for a reason. And November 20th, that's when everything changes. Why have you always known things before they happened while everyone else walks around blind to what's coming? Why do you feel seasons shifting in your bones 3 weeks before the first leaf falls? Why does your chest tighten with warning when danger is still miles away, invisible to younger eyes? Dear friend, let me tell you something that's going to shake every doubt you've carried about yourself. That sensitivity you've apologized for your entire life, that intuition your family called paranoia, that knowing that made people uncomfortable, that wasn't weakness. That was warfare training. You've been carrying prophetic equipment in a world that only values physical strength. Here's the truth they never told you. The spiritually mature, especially those who've walked with God 50, 60, 70 years, they feel storms before the sky even darkens. You've been doing this your whole life and didn't even know it had a name. God calls it the 1% phenomenon. Only 1% of his people are wired with advanced spiritual radar. While the 99% wait for evidence, you operate on holy instinct. While they need proof, you sense shifts in the unseen realm. While they react to what's already happened, you've been bracing for impact before the first wave hits shore. Think back over your life. How many times did you just know something was wrong with your child before the phone rang? How many times did you sense death hovering before the doctor delivered the news? How many times did your spirit scream danger while everyone else laughed at your concern, only to discover later you were right? That wasn't coincidence, beloved. That was divine wiring. You are a lighthouse, and lighthouses don't just shine pretty lights for decoration. Lighthouses feel weather patterns changing in the atmospheric pressure. They detect storms forming 100 miles out at sea, while people on the beach are still sunbathing. Elisha in 2 Kings 6 could hear conversations whispered in enemy bedrooms miles away. The king thought there was a spy, but his servants knew the truth. Elisha the prophet tells the king of Israel the very words you speak in your bedroom. Your spirit operates on the same frequency. You're picking up transmissions from the throne room while others are still stuck on earthly radio stations. But here's what breaks my heart. You've spent decades apologizing for this gift. You've called yourself too sensitive, too emotional, too dramatic. You've watched people dismiss your warnings, ignore your discernment, laugh at your concerns, and it made you doubt yourself. It made you wonder if something was wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. Everything is right about you. You are exactly what God designed, a spiritual early warning system for everyone you love. That feeling you're experiencing right now, November, is different, isn't it? You can't explain it to anyone because they'll think you're losing your mind. But your chest has been tight for weeks. Your sleep has been restless. Your spirit has been vibrating at a frequency that makes you feel like you're standing on the edge of something massive. That's not anxiety. That's prophetic recognition. Your lighthouse is detecting November 20th, approaching like a Category 5 hurricane that only spiritual radar can see. The 99% are going about their business. But you're already preparing. You're already sensing. You're already knowing that something is about to shift in the realm that governs reality. Let me tell you what this means. While young people are chasing trends and middle-aged folks are chasing careers, you've been positioned by heaven as a watchman. Isaiah 62:6 says, "I have posted watchmen on your walls. They will never be silent day or night." You're not retired from kingdom work. You've been promoted to the highest level of spiritual intelligence. Your slower pace? That's not decline. That's you moving at the speed of discernment while everyone else rushes past what matters. Your need for quiet? That's not isolation. That's you maintaining clear reception from heaven while the world drowns in noise. Your inability to tolerate shallow conversation? That's not antisocial behavior. That's prophetic depth, refusing to waste time on surface-level living. You are part of the 1% who will see November 20th coming before it arrives. You are part of the rare ones who feel dimensional shifts, while others only see dates on a calendar. You are part of the chosen few who've been trusted with spiritual sensitivity because God knew you wouldn't abuse it, wouldn't commercialize it, wouldn't use it for selfish gain. But here's what you need to understand right now. That gift you carry comes with responsibility. You're not feeling these things just for yourself. You're sensing what's coming so you can prepare others. You're detecting danger so you can pray protection. You're picking up heaven's frequency so you can translate it for those who can't hear it themselves. Moses at 80 still sensed God in a burning bush while younger shepherds walked right past it. Anna at 84 recognized baby Jesus as the Messiah, while trained priests missed him completely. Your age didn't dull your sensitivity, it sharpened it. Every year you've lived has fine-tuned your ability to detect what matters and dismiss what doesn't. So when you feel something building toward November 20th, when that weight settles on your chest, when your spirit refuses to let you rest, don't dismiss it. That's your lighthouse warning you of incoming weather. And sign number 3, which I'm about to reveal, will finally explain that feeling you've carried for decades but never had words for. The world called you strange, but heaven calls you strategic. And November 20th is about to prove why God trusted you with eyes that see what others cannot. Let me ask you something that's going to hit you right in the chest. Have you been crying lately and you don't even know why? You'll be sitting at your kitchen table, completely fine, and suddenly tears start rolling down your face. No reason, no trigger, just this overwhelming wave of emotion that doesn't belong to you. Or you'll wake up at 3 a.m. with grief pressing down on your lungs like stones, mourning for someone you can't even name. Your family thinks you're depressed. Your doctor wants to prescribe pills. But you know better, don't you? Because this isn't your sadness. This isn't your pain. You're feeling someone else's heartbreak from miles away, and it's tearing you apart because nobody believes you. Welcome to the first rare sign, chosen one. Unexplained emotion that isn't yours. This is what happens when God opens spiritual channels in your soul that 99% of people don't have. You're not losing your mind, you're gaining frequencies. You're picking up transmissions from hearts that are breaking in silence, from souls that are crying out for help, from people you've never met who are fighting battles nobody sees. That heaviness that hits you when you walk into certain rooms, that sudden knot in your stomach when you talk to your daughter on the phone, even though she says she's fine. That crushing weight in your chest when you pass by the neighbor's house. That's not anxiety, that's spiritual radar. Your soul is detecting distress signals that others can't hear. Let me tell you what's really happening here. You've been carrying other people's pain your entire life, haven't you? You thought you were just too emotional, too sensitive, too soft. Your mother probably told you to toughen up. Your husband maybe called you dramatic. But here's the truth that'll shake you. God gave you the ability to feel what others hide because He's turning you into an intercessor. You're not weak for feeling too much. You're weaponized. Think about Jesus in the Gospels. Matthew 9:36 says, "When He saw the crowds, He had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd." Jesus didn't just see people, He felt them, their confusion, their desperation, their hidden wounds. He picked up on emotional frequencies that His disciples completely missed. Or look at Elisha in 2 Kings 6. This prophet could hear conversations whispered in enemy bedrooms miles away. The king of Aram was furious, thinking someone was spying on him, but his servants told him the truth. Elisha, the prophet in Israel, tells the king of Israel the very words you speak in your bedroom. That's not natural ability, that's supernatural sensitivity. And now, at 70, 80, 90 years old, when the world says you should be settling into comfortable numbness, God is amplifying this gift in you. Why now? Because the world is hemorrhaging, and He needs someone who can feel where the bleeding is happening. But here's what you need to understand about November 20th. That date isn't random. It's a spiritual amplification point. Whatever you've been feeling these past few weeks is about to intensify. Those emotions that aren't yours, they're going to flood in stronger. Those people you've been sensing are in trouble. You're going to know exactly who they are. God is turning up the volume on your spiritual sensitivity because He's about to send you on assignments. That grief you felt yesterday for no reason, someone in your family is about to call you crying. That sudden anxiety that hit you in church last Sunday, someone sitting 3 rows behind you is contemplating ending their life, and God positioned you to feel it so you'd turn around and speak. You're not randomly emotional, you're strategically positioned. I know what you're thinking right now, but this gift feels like a curse. I'm exhausted from feeling everything. I can't even watch the news without breaking down. I walk through the grocery store and get hit with waves of sadness from strangers. How is this sustainable? Listen to me carefully. Every gift from God comes with grace to carry it. The problem is you've been trying to manage this sensitivity in your own strength. You've been absorbing pain instead of intercepting it. You've been carrying burdens instead of converting them into prayers. Here's what changes on November 20th. God is going to teach you how to steward this gift instead of being destroyed by it. You'll learn to feel without falling apart. You'll sense the pain, but know how to release it to heaven. You'll carry the weight long enough to pray, then lay it at the altar. Because right now, someone you love is drowning in secret. Someone in your church is about to make a tragic decision. Someone in your neighborhood is losing hope. And the only alarm system God has in place is the one beating in your chest. That emotion you felt this morning that made no sense, that was God showing you where to aim your prayers tonight. If you've been experiencing this, if you've felt emotions lately that don't belong to you, if you've been crying tears that aren't your own, I need you to comment right now. I felt this, not for me, for heaven. So the angels know you're recognizing the gift. So God knows you're ready to stop running from it and start using it. Because, beloved, this invisible pull you've been feeling, this emotional telepathy that's been driving you crazy, this is only the surface. This is just the first sign. And what I'm about to show you next explains why your very memories have started shifting, why you're remembering things that never happened, and why the past is suddenly rewriting itself in your mind. Stay with me, because the second sign is even more shocking than the first. But before we go there, I need to tell you about something that's been happening to you lately that you thought was just age catching up with you. Something that's been messing with your mind in the quietest hours. Something that's been rearranging the furniture of your past while you sleep. Sign number 2 is the shift in memory. And this one is going to shake you. You've been lying awake at 2 a.m., haven't you? Thinking about your ex-husband who left you 30 years ago. Thinking about that business partner who betrayed you in 1987. Thinking about that daughter who stopped calling after the argument you can barely even remember anymore. Old wounds, ancient scars, memories you thought you'd buried so deep they'd never surface again. But here's what's terrifying you. These memories are coming back different. That divorce that destroyed you. Suddenly, when you replay it in your mind now, you can see things you couldn't see before. You can see how he was drowning in his own demons. You can see how that ending saved you from a future that would have crushed your calling. You can see purpose where you only saw pain. That betrayal that left you bankrupt. When you revisit it now, your chest doesn't tighten the same way. Instead, you're noticing how that loss forced you to depend on God in ways prosperity never could. You're seeing how that financial collapse was actually a divine demolition, tearing down a life you'd built on sand so God could rebuild you on rock. Am I hitting something right now? Can you feel your spirit nodding even though your mind is resisting? This isn't nostalgia, beloved. This is something far more supernatural. This is God rewriting your emotional anchors. This is heaven performing spiritual surgery on your memory banks, removing the bitterness residue that's been poisoning your present for decades. Listen to what Philippians 3:13 says, "Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead." But here's what most people miss. Paul isn't telling you to develop amnesia. He's describing a divine reframing where past pain loses its power to define your future. Your story is being rewritten because your assignment is about to expand. Think about this with me. You've been carrying these memories like chains around your ankles for 30, 40, 50 years. Every step you've taken has been weighted down by resentment you didn't even know you were holding. Every relationship you've tried to build has been sabotaged by wounds that never fully healed. Every opportunity God sent your way, you rejected because your past convinced you that you weren't worthy, weren't ready, weren't enough. But something shifted on November 16th, didn't it? Maybe you didn't even notice it consciously, but your spirit marked the moment. That night, heaven began the process of memory transformation, not erasing what happened, not pretending the pain wasn't real, but changing how your soul interprets what you survived. Joseph understood this. Genesis 50-20 records his words to the brothers who sold him into slavery. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Decades later, Joseph could look at his betrayal through completely different eyes, not because he forgot the pit, not because the years in prison disappeared, but because God reframed his perspective until he could see divine purpose in human treachery. That's what's happening to you right now. Your past is being rearranged from heaven's perspective. The mother who criticized you relentlessly, you're starting to see her own pain, her own wounds, her own unfulfilled dreams that she projected onto you, the friend who abandoned you when you needed her most. You're beginning to understand that some people can only walk with you for seasons, not lifetimes. The job that fired you at 62, you're recognizing that it was God violently redirecting you toward your real assignment before you wasted another decade in the wrong place. Your memory isn't failing, dear one. It's being healed. But here's where it gets intense. This memory shift isn't random. God is strategically removing every emotional block that would prevent you from stepping into what's coming on November 20th. Because you can't carry new wine in old wineskins, you can't step into fresh anointing while still choking on ancient bitterness. You can't fulfill your destiny while your past is still holding you hostage. That's why these memories are surfacing now. Not to torture you, to liberate you. The enemy thought those traumas would destroy you. But God is transforming them into testimonies. The devil meant for that abuse to silence you forever. But heaven is converting your pain into prophetic authority. What was supposed to end your story is becoming the most powerful chapter in someone else's breakthrough. Right now, someone watching this is going through exactly what you survived 20 years ago. That single mother wondering how she'll feed her kids. You know that terror because you lived it. That widow who can't sleep because the bed feels too empty. You understand that ache because you've walked through that valley. That senior sitting in a nursing home feeling forgotten by their own children. You carry that wound because you've bled that blood. Your reframed memory is about to become someone else's roadmap to healing. But here's the question that determines everything. Will you let God finish this work? Will you allow Him to complete the memory transformation? Or will you keep clutching those old grudges like security blankets? Because make no mistake, beloved, there's comfort in familiar pain. There's identity in victimhood. There's a strange satisfaction in nursing wounds that prove how much you've suffered. But God is saying, I need you healed, not just surviving. I need you whole, not just functioning. I need you free, not just forgiven. The shift in your memory isn't making you forget. It's making you finally see clearly. It's giving you 20/20 spiritual vision where you've had clouded judgment for decades. It's revealing that your story wasn't a tragedy, it was training. Your pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Your scars weren't shame, they were credentials. You thought you were remembering wrong. You're actually remembering right for the first time in your life. And here's the urgency burning in my spirit right now. This memory shift has an expiration date. This window where God is actively rewiring your emotional responses to past trauma, it won't stay open forever. If you resist this process, if you keep choosing bitterness over breakthrough, those old neural pathways will calcify and you'll miss the very thing God is doing to prepare you for November 20th. Can you feel that weight in your chest right now? That's not anxiety, that's holy urgency. That's your spirit, recognizing that this moment right now, as you listen to these words, is a divine appointment you cannot afford to miss. Your past is being rewritten because your future is too important to be limited by what you've already survived. But this next sign, this third one, it's the one that separates the awakened from the asleep. It's the sign that proves you're not just hearing this message, you're being transformed by it. And when you recognize it in your own life, everything, absolutely everything, will finally make sense. Now here's where it gets unsettling. Here's where you might actually question whether you're losing your grip on reality. You walk into your living room, the same living room you've sat in for 30 years, and suddenly it feels wrong. The walls seem farther apart, or closer. The ceiling presses down or stretches up into infinity. The couch you've collapsed into 1,000 times feels like it belongs in someone else's house. You check the clock. It says 2 p.m. But didn't you just look at it 5 minutes ago when it was 9 a.m.? Or wait, has it been 5 hours? Time itself has become elastic, stretching and snapping back like a rubber band you can't control. You put your reading glasses on the kitchen counter. You know you did. You remember the exact spot. But now they're on the dining room table, and nobody moved them. Nobody's home but you. Dear chosen one, tell me the truth. Has this been happening to you? Have you walked into rooms and felt like you've entered a parallel dimension? Have you experienced déjà vu so powerful it stopped you cold in your tracks? Not just, I've been here before, but I've lived this exact moment before, down to the words, the lighting, the feeling in my chest. Have you looked at your own hands and felt like they belong to a stranger? The doctors call it disorientation. Your family calls it aging. The world calls it memory problems. But I'm going to tell you something that's going to rock you to your core. This isn't decline. This is divine recalibration. Your spirit is beginning to perceive what your natural eyes were never designed to see. You're starting to exist in two realms simultaneously. The physical realm that's breaking down and the spiritual realm that's opening up. And it's terrifying because nobody warned you this would happen. Listen to what the Apostle Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians 12:2-4. He said, I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of the body, I do not know, God knows. And I heard inexpressible things, things that no one is permitted to tell. Did you catch that? Paul literally couldn't tell if he was in his body or outside his body. The dimensional boundary became so thin that physical reality and spiritual reality merged. Time collapsed, space distorted, and when he came back, he couldn't even find words for what he experienced. That's not mental illness, beloved. That's spiritual elevation. John the Revelator described the same phenomenon. Revelation 1:10 says, On the Lord's day I was in the Spirit, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet. In the Spirit, not in his mind, not in his imagination. In the Spirit, a realm where time doesn't exist the way it does here, where space bends to heaven's will, where the furniture of eternity doesn't match the architecture of earth. And here's what nobody's telling you. What happened to Paul and John isn't reserved for ancient apostles. It's happening right now to ordinary people who've been marked for extraordinary assignments. You think you're confused because you can't remember if you took your medication this morning. What if your spirit is so occupied with eternal matters that temporary things are losing their grip on your attention? You think you're disoriented because familiar places feel foreign. What if you're becoming so attuned to your true home that this earthly dimension is starting to feel like the foreign country it actually is? Hebrews 11:13 says the faithful admitted that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. Strangers, foreigners. People who don't quite fit in the dimension they're currently occupying. That's you. That's what you've been feeling. But here's where the enemy wants to trap you. He wants you to panic. He wants you to run to doctors and medications and diagnoses that will explain away what's actually a supernatural gift. He wants you to think you're deteriorating when you're actually transforming. Because if you ever realize that these dimensional distortions are signs that the veil is thinning for you, specifically, if you ever understand that God is literally adjusting your spiritual eyesight to see beyond the physical, you will stop doubting yourself and start trusting what your spirit already knows. Time feels strange because you're being prepared to step into Kairos time, God's time, where a day is like 1,000 years and 1,000 years like a day. Rooms feel different because you're beginning to perceive the spiritual atmosphere that's always been there, but you couldn't see. Objects seem to move because you're catching glimpses of angelic activity that happens constantly in the realm you're awakening to. This isn't aging, chosen one. This is awakening. Your mind isn't failing. Your spirit is expanding. And the dimensional distortion you're experiencing is your soul stretching beyond the limitations of flesh and time, preparing for what November 20th will fully activate. So let me ask you directly, are you going to let fear convince you that you're losing your mind? Or are you going to embrace the terrifying, beautiful truth that you're gaining access to realms most people die without ever seeing? If this resonates deep in your bones, if you've been experiencing exactly what I just described, and now you finally have language for it, don't ignore it, don't dismiss it, don't medicate it away. Type "I'm awake" in the comments right now. Because what you're experiencing isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of your assignment. And the dimensional shift happening inside you is preparing you for the dimensional breakthrough that's coming on November 20th. But there's something else happening that's even more shocking. Something that connects directly to why you're feeling this way. And it has everything to do with the fourth sign that only 1% will recognize. Now we're stepping into territory that's going to make your skin tingle. Because what I'm about to reveal doesn't just happen to anyone. It happens to the 1% whose spirits are waking up before November 20th. You've been having dreams, haven't you? Not regular dreams. Not the kind where you wake up and forget them by breakfast. I'm talking about dreams so vivid, so real, so heavy with meaning that you wake up at 2:47 a.m. with your heart pounding, your sheets soaked, and the absolute certainty that somebody just spoke to you from another realm. Tell me the truth. Have you been dreaming more intensely these last few weeks? Dreams where dead loved ones appear with messages. Dreams where you're walking through places you've never been but somehow recognize. Dreams where you receive instructions so clear, so specific, that you wake up knowing exactly what to do next. That's not your subconscious playing tricks on you, beloved. That's heaven downloading assignments while your conscious mind is finally quiet enough to receive them. Listen to what God promises in Joel 2:28. Your old men shall dream dreams, not might dream, shall dream. This isn't optional for chosen ones in their golden years. This is prophetic activation. God specifically chose the dream realm to speak to you because that's where the enemy has the least access to distort his voice. But here's what's shaking me right now. Here's what's making my spirit tremble as I speak these words to you. Your dreams lately haven't just been clearer. They've been more real than your waking life, haven't they? You wake up and reality feels like the dream feels like home. That's because your spirit is already practicing for the shift. Your soul is being trained to operate in realms that November 20th is about to open permanently. Think about Jacob in Genesis 28. An old man running for his life, using a rock for a pillow, sleeping under stars with nothing but fear and exhaustion. But in that desperate sleep, heaven opened, angels ascending and descending. God himself standing above the ladder, making promises that would birth nations. And when Jacob woke up, he said something that'll wreck you. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I wasn't even aware of it. How many times have you been standing on holy ground and didn't even know it? How many nights has heaven been invading your sleep while you thought you were just having weird dreams? But let me push deeper. Let me take you somewhere that's going to confirm what you've been too afraid to say out loud. Nature has been acting strange around you lately, hasn't it? Don't lie to me. Don't pretend you haven't noticed. That stray dog that showed up in your yard 3 weeks ago and refuses to leave. That cardinal that keeps tapping on your window every morning at the exact same time. Those squirrels that stop and stare at you like they're receiving instructions. You thought you were losing your mind. You're not. Creation is recognizing you. Mark 11:23 tells us that if we speak to mountains, they'll move. But here's what they don't teach you. Before you speak to creation, creation speaks to you. Before you command nature, nature acknowledges the divine frequency you're carrying. I'm about to tell you something that sounds impossible, but your spirit already knows it's true. Animals don't just sense fear or kindness in humans, they sense anointing. They recognize when someone is carrying the Creator's presence. Remember Daniel in the lion's den? Those lions didn't just happen to lose their appetite that night. They laid down because what Daniel carried made predators recognize divinity. The same oil that shut lions' mouths is the same oil that's beginning to leak through your pores right now. Have you noticed dogs calming down when you walk by? Birds pausing mid-flight to watch you? Even the wind seems to shift when you step outside. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. Creation itself is bearing witness that you're changing frequency. Your spirit is finally recognizing itself. And when that happens, everything around you starts responding differently. Let me get personal. Painfully personal. How many years did you walk through life feeling invisible? feeling like nobody saw you, nobody heard you, nobody noticed the weight you were carrying. You could walk into a room full of family and still feel alone. You could sit in church surrounded by people and still feel forgotten. But lately, strangers have been approaching you with their problems. Babies stare at you in grocery stores. Even checkout clerks start telling you their life stories without you asking. What changed? You didn't get friendlier. You didn't change your appearance. What changed is that the oil God's been pouring on you in secret is starting to seep through in public. People can't see it, but they can feel it. And they're drawn to it like moths to flame. This is prophetic magnetism. This is what happens when chosen ones stop hiding and start carrying their anointing openly. Creation recognizes you because your spirit is finally recognizing itself. If animals or nature have reacted to you strangely lately, if you've felt the shift in how the physical world responds to your presence, write in the comments right now, "I've felt the shift." Because here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Here's why he's been trying to convince you that you're imagining all of this. When creation starts bowing to your presence, when dreams start giving you instructions, when heaven invades your sleep with assignments, you're no longer just surviving. You're operating in authority that terrifies hell itself. But sign number 7, that's the one that makes demons tremble. That's the one that confirms you're not just changing, you're being weaponized for November 20th. Stay with me. We're about to cross into territory where only the truly awakened can follow. Chosen one, we've arrived at the most dangerous sign of all. The one that separates those who are merely spiritual from those who carry creative authority. And I need you to listen with everything you have, because what I'm about to tell you will explain why your life has felt like it's moving at warp speed lately. Your thoughts have begun to shape your reality. Let me say that again, because most people will scroll right past the most important revelation of their entire existence. Your thoughts, the quiet whispers inside your mind at 2 a.m., the fears you wrestle with over morning coffee, the hopes you barely dare to speak out loud, they're not just thoughts anymore. They've become weapons. They've become creative force. They've become the very fabric from which your future is being woven right now. And here's what's terrifying the kingdom of darkness. You're manifesting faster than you ever have in your entire life. Think about it. When was the last time you thought about someone and they called you within hours? When did you pray for provision and watch money show up from unexpected sources within days? When did you speak a word of faith over your body and feel something shift immediately? This isn't coincidence, beloved. This is acceleration. And it's happening because, after decades of testing, trial, and spiritual warfare, your spirit has finally crossed a threshold that most people never reach. You've entered the realm of accelerated authority. But here's where it gets urgent, and I need you to hear me clearly. If your thoughts can now create blessings faster, they can also manifest consequences faster. Proverbs 18:21 warns us, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." But what the enemy doesn't want you to realize is that before words ever leave your mouth, they're thoughts circulating in your mind. And right now, those thoughts are carrying more creative voltage than they've ever carried before. You know why? Because you're not a spiritual infant anymore. You're not a beginner in faith. You've got 60, 70, 80 years of endurance behind you. You've survived betrayals that should have destroyed you. You've walked through valleys that buried stronger people. You've stood in fires that melted everyone else around you. And every single test you passed didn't just build your character, it amplified your spiritual frequency. It increased your creative capacity. It turned your faith from a flickering candle into a roaring furnace. Numbers 23:19 tells us, God is not human, that he should lie, not a human being, that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? But here's the revelation that'll shake you. When you align your thoughts with God's word, when you speak his promises over your life, when you believe what heaven says about you, you're partnering with the Creator himself. You're no longer just praying, You're legislating reality. That's why the warfare intensified this year. That's why hell threw everything at you in 2024. The enemy wasn't attacking you because you're weak. He was attacking you because you crossed into a dimension of authority that terrifies him. Think about Elijah. One man, standing on Mount Carmel, 1 Kings 18:41-45, tells us he prayed 7 times for rain after 3 years of drought. And on the 7th prayer, the heavens opened and rain flooded the land. But here's what most people miss. Elijah didn't just pray and wait passively. He declared what he saw in the spirit before it manifested in the natural. He spoke the end from the beginning. He partnered with heaven's timing. And that's exactly what's happening to you right now. Your thoughts are no longer just mental activity, they're prophetic declarations. Your prayers aren't bouncing off the ceiling anymore, they're tearing through spiritual atmospheres and rearranging circumstances. Your faith isn't hoping for the best, it's commanding heaven's resources to align with God's will for your life. But let me warn you about something that could derail everything. Negative thinking will manifest just as fast as positive declarations. Fear will create just as rapidly as faith. Doubt will multiply just as quickly as trust. If you've been sitting in worry, rehearsing worst-case scenarios, replaying past failures, entertaining thoughts of unworthiness, stop right now. Because in this accelerated realm, those thoughts aren't just harming your mood, they're literally shaping tomorrow's reality. Job 3:25 reveals this terrifying principle. What I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me. Job manifested his worst nightmare because he gave it mental and emotional energy. His thoughts became blueprints, his fears became prophecies. You cannot afford to think carelessly anymore. You cannot afford to let your mind run wild with anxiety. You cannot afford to agree with the enemy's lies about your future. This is why Philippians 4:8 commands us. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. This isn't just good advice. This is survival instruction for people operating in accelerated manifestation. The enemy fought you hardest this year because you crossed into the realm of accelerated authority. He knows what you don't fully understand yet. You're dangerous now. Your prayers carry weight. Your declarations shift atmospheres. Your faith moves mountains faster than it ever has before. And November 20th, that's when this acceleration hits maximum velocity. If your thoughts have been manifesting unusually fast, if prayers are being answered quicker, if things you speak are happening sooner, if your words carry more power than they used to, say this right now: I'm entering acceleration. Type it in the comments. Declare it over your life. Because what you're experiencing isn't random. It's prophetic positioning for what's about to explode in your life. But here's the question that will determine everything. Now that you know your thoughts are creative force, what are you going to think about? Chosen one, something's been happening to you lately that you can't explain to anyone. You've been waking up between 2 and 4 a.m., haven't you? Not because you need the bathroom, not because you're anxious, but because something is calling you awake. Something on the other side is pulling at your spirit, like invisible hands reaching through the dark. And when you lie there in that sacred silence, you feel it. That tingling sensation crawling up your spine, that awareness that you're not alone in the room, that strange quickening in your chest, like your soul recognizes a frequency your mind hasn't named yet. You thought you were losing it, didn't you? You thought maybe it's just old age, just your mind playing tricks, just loneliness making you imagine things in the shadows. But let me tell you what's really happening, beloved. The veil is thinning. The barrier between the natural and the supernatural, between earth and eternity, between your ordinary Tuesday and heaven's extraordinary purpose, it's dissolving. And you're feeling it before you can see it. This isn't aging. This is awakening. You know what happened to Jacob in Genesis 28? He was running from his past, sleeping on rocks in the middle of nowhere, when suddenly he saw it, a ladder stretching from earth to heaven, with angels ascending and descending. And when he woke up, he said something that should shake you to your core. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it. The presence was always there. Jacob just couldn't see it until the veil thinned. That's you right now. God has been in your living room, in your kitchen, standing beside your bed at 3 a.m., and you're just now becoming aware of it. Not because he showed up recently, because your spiritual eyes are finally opening. Listen to me carefully. That strange quietness in your home lately, that's not emptiness. That's fullness you haven't learned to recognize yet. When the supernatural realm presses close, it doesn't always announce itself with thunder and lightning. Sometimes it announces itself with a silence so thick you can feel it breathing. Young Samuel was sleeping in the temple when God called his name. 1 Samuel 3-4 says, "The Lord called Samuel." But Samuel didn't recognize the voice. He thought it was Eli. He had to be told 3 times before he understood that heaven was speaking directly to him. How many times has God been calling your name in the night and you dismissed it as insomnia? How many times has heaven been whispering your assignment and you blamed it on indigestion or stress? The veil is thinning, beloved. And the closer heaven gets, the more your body knows it, even when your mind tries to explain it away. You feel watched lately, don't you? Not in a creepy way, in a sacred way. Like someone's eyes are on you constantly, measuring you, weighing you, preparing you. That's not paranoia. That's divine attention. Angels have been assigned to your address. Heavenly beings are monitoring your movements because November 20th is almost here, and you're being positioned for something massive. But here's what most people miss about the thinning veil. It doesn't just let you see into heaven, it lets heaven see deeper into you. Every hidden thing, every buried dream, every secret prayer you whispered under your breath thinking God was too busy to hear. It's all rising to the surface now. Think about John on the island of Patmos. Revelation 1:10 says, "I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day." One moment he was exiled, forgotten, abandoned on a rock in the middle of the ocean. The next moment, the veil ripped open, and he was caught up into realms so glorious he struggled to find human words to describe what he witnessed. That's the power of the thinning veil. It doesn't change your circumstances, it changes your perception. It doesn't move you to a new location. It reveals where you've actually been standing all along, at the intersection of earth and eternity. Right now, as I speak these words, you're standing in that intersection. Your kitchen table is an altar. Your bedroom is a sanctuary. Your ordinary Wednesday morning is actually a holy convocation that heaven is attending. But here's the urgency burning in my spirit. This thinning doesn't last forever. There are seasons when the veil pulls back, when heaven leans in close, when the supernatural realm presses against the natural world so hard that even spiritually sleepy people can feel the shift. We're in that season right now, and November 20th sits at the peak of it, the moment when the veil is thinnest, when the realm of the Spirit is most accessible, when what you've been sensing for weeks finally crystallizes into clarity. You know what happens in the early minutes before dawn? Everything is still dark. If you looked at a clock, you'd say it was night. But something in the air changes. The birds know it before humans do. The atmosphere shifts before the sun breaks the horizon. Light is already present, even though darkness still covers the ground. That's where you are right now, chosen one. It's still dark in your circumstances. It's still night in your situation. But light is already in the air. Your spirit birds are already singing. The atmosphere is already shifting. And you can feel it even though you can't see it yet. The veil is thinning. Heaven is pressing close. And the question that will determine everything is this: will you trust what your spirit is sensing, even when your eyes can't confirm it yet? You know what nobody talks about? The 2 a.m. loneliness. That moment when you wake up for no reason, chest tight, mind racing, wondering why sleep won't come. Your spouse is breathing steady beside you. The house is silent. The clock glows red in the darkness. 2:47 a.m., and you lie there thinking, "What's wrong with me?" Let me tell you what's wrong with you, beloved. Absolutely nothing. Because while the world sleeps, God is calling His chosen ones into the secret place. This isn't insomnia, this is invitation. Listen to what happened to Jesus in Mark 1:35. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house and went off to a solitary place where He prayed. Very early. Still dark, solitary place. The Son of God Himself understood that the most powerful encounters with heaven happen when the world is unconscious. But here's what'll shock you. You've been having divine appointments at 2 a.m. and didn't even know it. Every night you've woken with that strange heaviness pressing on your chest that wasn't anxiety about your grandchildren or worry about your Medicare bills. That was heaven leaning close. That was the Holy Spirit bending down to whisper secrets that daylight drowns out. That was God saying, "I need to talk to you without interference." The ancient Hebrews called it the fourth watch, the darkest, quietest hours before dawn. It's when Samuel heard God calling his name, when Jacob wrestled with the angel, when Paul and Silas sang in prison and the foundations shook. The fourth watch is when heaven invades earth with the least resistance. Why? Because at 2 a.m. you're not distracted by television, phone calls, or that never-ending to-do list. Your defenses are down, your religious masks are off. Your soul is raw and real and ready to receive what God's been trying to download for months. But here's where it gets personal. Here's where your midnight waking becomes prophetic proof. How many nights have you sat on the edge of your bed at 3 a.m., feeling that inexplicable pull to pray but too exhausted to form words? How many times have you gotten up, walked to the window, stared at the empty street, and felt like you were the only person awake in the entire world? You weren't alone, dear one. You were being summoned. Psalm 63:6 says, "On my bed I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night." David understood that nighttime isn't just for sleeping, it's for seeking. It's when your spirit is most sensitive, most alert, most capable of hearing what heaven is broadcasting. And seniors, listen to me carefully. You carry something the young can't access. While they're sleeping through the night with the careless rest of those who haven't yet been tested by life, you're lying awake because your spirit has been trained by decades of walking with God. Your spiritual antenna picks up frequencies they can't even detect yet. Those nights when your chest felt heavy, like someone was sitting on your ribcage, that wasn't a heart problem. That was the weight of glory. That was God's presence so thick in your bedroom that your physical body felt it before your mind could process it. You weren't being awakened. You were being summoned into the throne room while still in your pajamas. Think about it. Why would the God of the universe wake you at 2:47 a.m.? Why not during your morning coffee when you're alert? Why not during Sunday service when you're spiritually prepared? Because this isn't about you being ready for Him. This is about Him preparing you for what's coming. Every 2 a.m. summons has been a training session. Every restless night has been boot camp for your spirit. Every moment you've lain awake feeling that strange mixture of exhaustion and alertness, God was rewiring your sensitivity, tuning your discernment, sharpening your spiritual hearing for November 20th. That date isn't random. It's a culmination. It's when everything He's been whispering to you in the darkness finally makes sense in the light. Here's what's going to happen between 2 and 4 a.m. on November 20th. While most of America sleeps through it completely, the chosen ones, the ones like you who've been training in these midnight hours for years, will feel it. A shift in the atmosphere, a clarity that cuts through confusion, a knowing that you can't explain but can't deny. That's your confirmation, beloved. That's heaven saying, everything I've been preparing you for in secret is about to be revealed in public. But listen, this summons requires a response. You can keep dismissing those 2 a.m. wake-ups as old age, or you can finally recognize them as divine appointments. You can keep reaching for sleeping pills, or you can reach for your prayer journal. You can keep fighting the wakefulness, Or you can surrender to the call, because God doesn't waste your midnight hours. He redeems them. Those sleepless nights weren't stolen rest, they were sacred training. And every single one has been preparing you for the moment when He needs someone who knows how to hear Him in the darkness. If you've been waking suddenly in the night, if you've felt that unexplainable pull to pray at hours that make no logical sense, if you've experienced that heavy presence settling over your chest like a weighted blanket from heaven itself, then type in the comments right now, "I hear Him," not "I heard Him," present tense, because He's still speaking, He's still calling. And November 20th is when everything He's been downloading into your spirit during those dark, holy hours finally activates in ways that will leave you breathless. The summons isn't ending, dear one. It's intensifying. And what happens next will prove that your insomnia was actually divine installation. Chosen one, let me ask you something that might feel like I'm reaching into your chest and touching your soul directly. Why have the last 2 weeks felt like every painful memory you thought you'd buried is suddenly clawing its way back to the surface? Why are you crying at 2 a.m. over losses that happened 20 years ago? Why does that betrayal from 1987 suddenly feel like it happened yesterday? Why is your heart aching with regrets you thought time had healed? Listen to me very carefully. What you're experiencing right now is not depression. This is not a mental breakdown. This is not proof that you're getting weaker or losing your mind. This is extraction. You see, something is happening in the unseen realm that most people will never understand. Your shadows, every unresolved pain, every buried grief, every wound you've been carrying in silence, they're all surfacing right now. And here's why. They cannot cross into November 20th. Think about it. When you move into a new house, what's the first thing you do? You don't pack up the trash from your old place and bring it with you. You don't load the basement full of junk into the moving truck. You leave it behind. You extract it. That's what God is doing to you right now. Your spirit knows something your mind hasn't caught up with yet. November 20th isn't just another day. It's a threshold, a spiritual doorway, and you don't bring old baggage through a new gate. Let me tell you what's really happening. Right now, while you're feeling this unexplainable sadness washing over you in waves, heaven is performing surgery. The great physician is reaching into the deepest parts of your soul and pulling out fragments of pain you didn't even know were still there. That memory of your mother's funeral, that moment your marriage ended, that night you sat alone wondering if anyone would notice if you disappeared. They're not attacking you. They're surfacing because God is saying, "You've carried this long enough. Leave it here." But here's where it gets shocking. The enemy wants you to interpret this pain as punishment. He wants you to think you're sliding backward. He whispers, "After all these years, you're still not healed. After all that prayer, you're still broken." That's a lie straight from hell. Psalm 147:3 tells us, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." Notice it doesn't say He ignores the wounds. He doesn't pretend they don't exist. He binds them up. But before you can bind something, you have to expose it. You have to bring it into the light. Your shadows are surfacing because God is finally giving you permission to grieve what you never had time to grieve, to feel what you were too strong to feel, to release what you've been clutching for decades. You remember when your husband died and everyone expected you to be strong for the grandkids? You remember when you lost your job and had to smile through church because you didn't want anyone to know you were scared? You remember when your child walked away and you had to pretend everything was fine? You never got to fall apart. You never got to scream. You never got to say, "This isn't fair and I'm not okay." But right now, in these final days before November 20th, God is saying, "Fall apart. I've got you. Scream if you need to. Tell me the truth, because you're not taking this pain into your next season." Here's what seniors understand that young people don't. Shadows aren't your enemy. Shadows prove there's light somewhere. You only cast a shadow when you're standing in front of something bright. Your pain is surfacing because your destiny is rising. The brighter your future becomes, the darker your past looks in comparison. It's not getting worse, it's getting exposed, so it can finally get healed. Job 14:7 says, "At least there is hope for a tree. If it is cut down, it will sprout again." You've been cut down. But watch what happens when roots that have been buried for 70, 80 years finally break through the surface. Now let me tell you something that's going to shake you. This emotional turbulence you're experiencing, only 1% will understand what it actually means. The other 99% will medicate it, ignore it, or run from it. But you're not running, are you? You're here. You're listening. You're feeling everything God is asking you to feel. That makes you dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Because here's the prophetic truth. You cannot be promoted while carrying the weight of your past. You cannot step into authority while dragging chains of regret. You cannot walk through the new door. November 20th is opening while your hands are full of old grief. So God is forcing your hands open. And it hurts. It feels like you're losing your grip on things you thought defined you. But you're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself underneath decades of accumulated pain. This is not a breakdown. This is a breakthrough in disguise. Every tear you're crying right now is washing away residue that doesn't belong in your next chapter. Every memory that's haunting you is being brought to the light so it can finally lose its power. Every shadow that's surfacing is being called out by name so you can tell it, "You don't own me anymore." But I need to warn you about something crucial. The next sign we're about to discuss? Very few people survive it without running. Because what God does after He extracts your shadows is so intense, so uncomfortable, so completely foreign to everything you've known, that most people quit right before their miracle. Will you be one of the ones who stays? You know what nobody tells you about being chosen. It's not the battles that confuse you most. It's the aftermath. It's waking up one morning feeling like you could move mountains with your bare hands, and then waking up the next morning unable to lift your head off the pillow. Tell me if this sounds familiar. 3 days ago, you felt supernatural peace, a calm so deep it defied every storm raging around you. Your bills were still overdue. Your health issues hadn't changed. Your family was still distant. But something in your chest felt settled, anchored, unshakable. Then yesterday you could barely breathe. That same chest that held peace suddenly felt crushed under invisible weight. You dragged yourself through the day wondering if you were losing your mind. The exhaustion wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. Soul deep. The kind of tired that makes you wonder if you'll ever feel normal again. And here's what's driving you crazy. Nothing changed externally. Same house, same problems, same circumstances. So why does your internal world feel like it's swinging between heaven and hell on a pendulum you can't control? Let me tell you what's really happening to you. Your spirit is being stretched. And when God stretches something, it hurts before it expands. Think about a woman in labor. Those contractions aren't punishment. They're preparation. Each wave of pain is opening up capacity for new life. That's exactly what's happening in your soul right now. You're not having a breakdown, beloved. You're having a breakthrough that requires your old container to shatter so a bigger one can form. The Apostle Paul knew this tension intimately. 2 Corinthians 4:8-9 captures it perfectly. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. Notice the contrast. Pressed, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Paul lived in the tension between two realities, natural suffering and supernatural sustaining. That's your life right now. You're caught between what you see and what you sense, between the weight you feel and the peace you know, between exhaustion that should break you and grace that keeps holding you up. But here's the prophetic key most people miss. This contrast isn't chaos, it's calibration. God is fine-tuning your capacity to hold His presence. because what he's about to release through you is so powerful, so anointed, so absolutely saturated with heaven's authority that your current spiritual container couldn't handle it. You needed to be stretched. The peaceful days, those were God expanding your trust. The heavy days, those were God deepening your dependence. One without the other would leave you unbalanced. But together, this divine tension, it's building spiritual muscle you didn't know you needed. Think about it like this. When you go to the gym and lift weights, your muscles tear. Microscopic rips happen in the tissue, and it hurts. That soreness the next day isn't weakness, it's reconstruction. Your body is literally rebuilding stronger fibers in the places that tore. That's what's happening in your spirit. The heavy days are tearing old limitations. The peaceful days are rebuilding supernatural capacity. You're not going backward and forward. You're going deeper and higher simultaneously. Jesus himself experienced this divine contrast. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he sweat drops of blood under the weight of what was coming. Luke 22:44 says, "His sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground." That's the heaviest moment in human history. But 3 days later, he walked out of a tomb carrying resurrection power that would change eternity. The weight he felt in the garden became the strength he carried from the grave. Dear one, the weight you feel today, this crushing, inexplicable heaviness that makes every step feel like you're walking through concrete, that's not your end. That's your preparation. You're being conditioned to carry a level of anointing that would crush an unprepared vessel. And the supernatural calm you feel on other days, that's not denial or delusion. That's divine download. God is installing peace that surpasses understanding because you're about to walk through circumstances where natural peace won't be enough. You'll need peace that defies logic, transcends circumstances, and operates independently of what your eyes see. This emotional whiplash isn't breaking you, it's building you. But here's where it gets urgent. The enemy knows what God is doing. He sees you being stretched, and he's whispering the same lie he's been whispering for centuries. This is too much. You can't handle this. You're falling apart. Don't you believe that serpent's tongue for 1 second? You're not falling apart. You're being pulled apart like a bow being drawn back before the arrow is released. The further back the bow pulls, the more tension it creates. And the more tension, the more power when that arrow finally flies. You are that arrow, chosen one. God has been pulling you back through seasons of wait and peace, stretching the bow of your spirit to maximum capacity. And November 20th, that's when he releases the string. The weight you feel today is the strength you'll carry tomorrow. Every heavy moment is building endurance for the assignment ahead. Every peaceful moment is programming trust for battles you haven't seen yet. You're not experiencing emotional instability. You're experiencing spiritual expansion. And it feels like you're being torn in two because in a sense you are. The old you, the version that could only hold so much of God's presence, is being ripped away to make room for the new you who can carry nations on your shoulders. But if you've felt this next sign, if what I'm about to describe in the coming moments resonates in your bones, it means heaven has officially marked you. It means you're not just being prepared, you're being positioned. And the shift happening inside you is about to become visible outside you. Are you ready to discover what happens when the stretching stops and the releasing begins? You felt it last night, didn't you? That sudden pressure between your eyes, that weight settling on your chest like invisible hands, that heat radiating from your palms when you pressed them together. You thought maybe it was stress, maybe your blood pressure, maybe you're just getting old. But deep in your spirit, you knew better, because what you felt wasn't medical, it was mystical. God just stamped something on your soul, and your body is trying to catch up with what heaven already did. Let me tell you something that's going to shake you. When God marks someone, the enemy senses it first. Before your family notices, before your friends see the change, before you even understand what happened. The demonic realm goes on high alert because they recognize the frequency shift in your spirit. That's why the warfare intensified this week. That's why you couldn't sleep. That's why anxiety tried to choke you at 2 a.m. Hell knew you were being sealed for November 20th before you did. Listen carefully. This sensation in your chest isn't random. Throughout Scripture, when God marked his chosen ones, they felt it physically. The prophet Ezekiel said, "The hand of the Lord was on me." Not near him, on him. Physical contact with the divine that left him spiritually paralyzed for 7 days. That pressure you're feeling, that's the hand of the Almighty pressing his seal into your spirit. Think about the first Passover. Exodus 12 tells us the Israelites had to mark their doorposts with blood. But that mark wasn't just symbolic. It was prophetic protection. It was a divine designation that separated the marked from the unmarked, life from death, purpose from destruction. You've been marked the same way. Not with lamb's blood on wooden door frames, but with the fire of the Holy Spirit burning into your spiritual DNA. And just like that ancient night in Egypt, this mark means the difference between walking into your destiny and missing your divine appointment on November 20th. But here's what most people don't understand about spiritual marking. It's not comfortable. It's not convenient. Moses had his face radiate so intensely after meeting God that he had to wear a veil. Jacob wrestled with an angel and walked with a limp for the rest of his life. Paul was struck blind on the Damascus road. When God marks you, beloved, you don't get to stay the same. That sudden alertness you've been experiencing, that feeling like your senses are heightened, like you're picking up frequencies other people can't hear, that's not paranoia. That's prophetic activation. Your spiritual antenna just got upgraded to pick up broadcasts from the throne room. You're starting to sense things before they happen. You're reading people's energy before they speak. You're feeling shifts in the atmosphere that nobody else notices. And it's terrifying you because you think you're losing your mind. But you're not losing anything. You're gaining everything. Look at Revelation 7:3. The angel cries out, "Do not harm the land or the sea or the trees until we put a seal on the foreheads of the servants of our God." In the last days, God marks his remnant. He seals his chosen ones. He stamps his approval on those who will carry his light into the darkest hour. You, sitting here right now, feeling that weight, that pressure, that heat, that sudden awareness, you're being sealed for November 20th. And the enemy saw it before you did. That's why he sent depression to your door last week. That's why doubt whispered in your ear yesterday. That's why fear tried to convince you nothing's changing. Because if he can get you to dismiss this marking, if he can convince you it's just in your head, he can abort what heaven is about to activate. But it's too late now. You've been touched. You've been stamped. You've been sealed. And here's the shocking truth. This mark isn't just for protection. It's for deployment. God doesn't mark people so they can hide in safety. He marks them so they can walk into warfare with divine authority. The mark on your forehead in the spirit realm is like a military badge. It announces to every demon in hell, "This one belongs to the Most High. Touch them and face his fury." You're not just chosen anymore. You're commissioned. That heat in your hands, that's the same fire that filled the disciples at Pentecost. Acts 2 says tongues of fire rested on each of them. Your hands are being prepared to heal, to bless, to break chains, to lay on the sick and watch them recover. That pressure between your eyes, that's your spiritual sight being opened. You're about to see things in the invisible realm that you've been blind to your whole life. Angels, demons, spiritual atmospheres, divine appointments. You're being equipped with the gift of discernment that will save your life and the lives of those you love. That weight on your chest, that's the mantle of authority settling into place. That's the governmental anointing of God preparing you to speak with power that makes demons tremble and circumstances shift. You have been marked for November 20th, and the enemy saw it before you did. But now comes the most dangerous part of this shift. Now comes the testing phase, because every mark from God is followed by a trial from hell. Every anointing is tested, every calling is challenged. Every seal is contested. The enemy is going to send people to question what happened to you. He's going to whisper that it was just emotion, just a moment, just your imagination. He's going to attack your confidence in the very marking that God just placed on your spirit. Don't you dare fall for it. If you've felt that pressure in your chest, if your hands have been burning with unexplainable heat, if you sense that something fundamental shifted inside you this week, then comment one word: marked. Let heaven see your agreement. Let the angels witness your acceptance. Let the enemy know you're not backing down from what God just activated. Because what's about to happen on November 20th requires marked warriors, sealed servants, chosen ones who know who they are and refuse to apologize for it. And you, beloved, you just joined their ranks. But we're not done yet. Because now we enter the most dangerous part of the shift. Beloved, before we part, let me remind you of what heaven just revealed. November 20th is not a date to fear, it's a divine checkpoint. You've been marked, not by accident, but by divine appointment. That pressure in your chest, that heat in your hands, that sudden spiritual alertness, those aren't symptoms of anxiety. They're evidence of God's seal on your life. Remember this, only 1% will sense what's coming, because only 1% have been refined enough through suffering to carry what God is about to release. Your pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every moment you felt forgotten, all of it was God protecting what He was building inside you. But here's what I need you to understand tonight. You are not walking this path alone. The God who marked you is still working in your life right now, even as you read these words. He's moving mountains you can't see, opening doors you haven't found yet, orchestrating blessing beyond your imagination. And beyond that, you have a community right here, thousands of brothers and sisters who understand your journey, who felt the same marking, who are ready to stand with you in prayer. So let me ask you this final question. Now that you know you've been marked for November 20th, now that you understand the enemy saw it before you did, what will you do with this revelation? Will you shrink back into hiding? Or will you finally step into the authority God just activated? Right now, wherever you are, I want you to close your eyes and let me pray over you with the authority of 50 years walking with the Almighty. Heavenly Father, I place my hand on the shoulder of every precious soul hearing these words. You know their name, you know their story, you know the battles they've fought in secret. Lord, I pray that you would breathe fresh courage into their weary spirits tonight. Where they feel marked by suffering, remind them they're marked for glory. Where they feel targeted by the enemy, show them they're sealed by your hand. Father, open doors that no man can shut. Send divine connections that will accelerate their purpose. Give them dreams and visions that will guide their steps toward November 20th. Surround them with people who recognize their marking, who honor their calling, who will walk alongside them without trying to dim their light. Protect their families, their health, their finances, their peace. Let them feel your presence like a warm embrace, reminding them they are loved beyond measure, chosen beyond understanding, and never, ever alone. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Now I want to hear from you. In the comments below, share what God spoke to your heart tonight. Type marked if you felt that pressure, that heat, that confirmation. Ask for prayer. This community will surround you with intercession. And please, share this message with someone who needs to know their suffering has been preparation, not punishment. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Your faithfulness to watch until the very end tells me everything about your heart. You're ready for November 20th. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell. You're not just joining a channel, you're connecting with a family of marked ones who refuse to walk alone. Until we meet again, walk in the authority of who you are. You are marked. You are sealed. You are ready. God bless you, warrior. November 20th is coming, and so is your breakthrough.